Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in the world. I hope you're having an awesome day. I'm Craig, your average tech fan, and today we are going to talk about wireless or true wireless Bluetooth earbuds, AirPods. Anyways, let's start off with the well-known Apple AirPods and what I do or don't like. There are a couple of things I like, but let's just get into the many things I don't like. I've owned these for about 5 months now, and so I can say I've well tested them. And let's just say, not a fan. I think on a scale from 0 to 5 stars, I'd give it a 3-star. Here's what I don't like about it. Needless to say, the number one thing I don't like is how they look. And believe me, I'm an Apple fan in most other cases. I had the iPhone 3, 4, 5, 6 Plus, and now the 10. I have a MacBook Pro, I have an iMac Pro. I have so much Apple stuff that I'm kind of already invested in the ecosystem. So I usually lean towards wanting to like Apple stuff, but these AirPods are horrible. First thing, looks. Let's go with looks because that's the one thing almost everybody agrees on. These things look retarded. And I know the word retarded is not politically correct when you refer to a person. I mean, I grew up at a time when you'd be hanging around with your buddies and somebody would say something stupid and we'd all laugh and say, hey, don't be retarded. But today you're not allowed to say that anymore. But I think if you're talking about a piece of technology, it's not politically incorrect to say these things look retarded. I mean, they look like Q-tips hanging out of your ear. Funny story, I'm at work one day, I called a coroner and I knew the coroner was going to be calling me back. I knew I needed both hands free, one for my notebook, one for my pen. The phone rang. I took this out, I had this in my pocket. I took this out, put it in my ear and answered the phone so that I'd have my hands free. And my 2 colleagues that were in the hallway looked over at me and started looking at me funny and snickering, and they didn't know what these were at the time. And after I got off the phone, they go, what the heck is that? And I said, it's the new Apple AirPod. And they went, okay, Hollywood. And I'm thinking, Hollywood? How do these things make me Hollywood? And then he went, beam me up, Scotty. So needless to say, after that, as much as I knew that they kind of looked silly, having colleagues laughing at you because you're wearing them definitely pushed me over the edge for not wanting to wear these in public. I equate these to a scooter. They might be fun to ride, but you don't want anybody seeing you ride them. And that's what these AirPods are like. I'll wear them when I'm working out or I'll wear them walking around the house because nobody sees me. Will I walk around in public tapping my ear and saying, hey Siri, tell me about the weather. Hey Siri, what do I have on my calendar today? No. Let's just talk about what Apple has done recently. They took your earphone jack out of the most recent phones. They took a lot of ports out of the side of the MacBook Pro, like the SD card, which I needed. It just kind of makes me think that I don't think Apple cares whether we want the products they sell anymore. I don't think they're doing any market research to ask people what they want. I don't think if they brought a big group of people together and showed them these and said, is this the shape and color that you think would be best? Would you like wearing these? I don't think anybody's gonna look at these and say, hell yeah, those things are cool. No, they are not cool. They are far from cool. For one thing, they're white. Why do you make them bright white? I mean, if you had to make it this shape, why not make it black? So it sort of looks like a Bluetooth ear set that you would buy to answer phones with. But no, you have to be Apple and say, we want the whole world to know that you have an Apple product, so we're going to make you stick these bright white Q-tips in your ears in order to have our product. The other thing I don't like is that they're not rubber, they're hard plastic. So there's a lot of ear fatigue here, I find anyway. You put them in your ear, at first they're okay, but after a while that hard plastic digging into your ear just drives you nuts, right? It drives you nuts. And I like some of my other earbuds around. I've got so many Bluetooth earphones over here, I can't even find them all. But I like the ones that are low profile because sometimes I like to go to bed and sleep on my Bluetooth earbud and listen to, a podcast or something as I drift off to sleep. These, because they are hard plastic, you fall asleep with them in and then you wake up in the middle of the night and feel like somebody has cut the inside of your ear because it's so freaking hard. Anyways, these things look retarded, and I'll continue to use that word for things like this that is just a piece of tech. But if I say they look retarded and they didn't do any customer research, am I saying the people who designed them are retarded? Possibly, but it's well warranted. Anyways, do not like them. The sound, because there's no isolation, it's hard plastic. The sound is average. I mean, it's clear, but there's no bass. You hear everything around you, which most times is not good, because most people put earbuds in to work out or do something where they want to feel like they're in their own world, enjoying their music or whatever they're listening to. These things, you can hear everything. I can hear the birds outside. I can hear everything. I mean, that can only be good in one sense. I will wear these around the house if Janice is here and I don't want to feel like I'm trying to tune her out. If I wear these and she's doing dishes or I'm doing something near her and she talks to me, I can still hear everything she says. So I can respond to her, and you know, a happy wife is a happy life. If you put noise isolating earbuds in like these, the ones I'm about to talk about, you can't hear anything else going on. You're immersed in the sound and the music. It sounds great with that sound isolation. But if your wife's talking to you and then she realizes you're just around the corner, but she'll think you're ignoring her, and that's never a good thing. So if you want earbuds where you can hear everything around you, that have clarity but no real bassiness to them, these might be okay. If you have no shame and don't care what they look like. So that's pretty much it. Oh, another thing too, these things are hard plastic, so they slip out of your fingers. I feel like if you squeeze them or try and pick them up, sometimes I'm taking them out of my ear and they just go fling, flying across the room, or I'm driving in my car. And the good thing with these is because you can hear everything around you, I feel like there's no problem driving with them because you can hear the wind going by your car, you can hear the people in the car next to you talking at lights. I mean, you can hear everything with these in your ears, so don't worry about feeling like you don't know what's going on around you. These things are fine. But they're like a slippery bar of soap, and I often drop these, putting them in and out of my ears, and they end up underneath my seat in my car, and then I have to pull over to the side of the road and get under my seat, try and find out where these stupid things went. I've lost these things under my seat so many times. So being hard plastic, bad. Being white, bad. Oh, and if you're gonna put this stupid long stem on here, how about you use that space for something? There's no volume up, volume down control or anything. You have all this supposed required long stem here. How about making it a touch sensitive volume control? Swipe down for lower volume, swipe up for higher volume. Maybe you use the other one. Swipe up for skip to next song, swipes down to skip to last song. I mean, come on, Apple, you put this big long stem there, you didn't use it for anything. Ugh. Anyways, enough Apple bashing with those AirPods. I give it a 3 out of 5. Don't spend your money on it. You'll look ridiculous. The sound's only average. There's no bass. No, don't buy it. Okay, so let's get on to this one. Now, the one thing I noticed with this is you got to squeeze the case to get it open. There we are. So this is kind of like a much better comparison. These are also true wireless earbuds made by Jabra called the Elite 65T. It comes in a charging case just like the Apple AirPods do. These last for 5 hours on a charge. They are comfortable. They have noise isolation because they have a rubber tip that you stick in your ear. And when you do, it completely blocks your ear canal. Like right now, I can only hear myself through my own head, but I can't hear anything else around me. They go for 5 hours. They have, and I will do a zoom in of it, they have 4 microphones, 2 on each side. And what that's designed for is that you can take phone calls and the person on the other end doesn't, supposedly the quality is so good, they don't even know you're on an earbud talking and that you're not talking on the phone. I've tested it. I've called Janice and I've asked her how it sounds, and she says it sounds great. It sounds fine. So that passes the test. Great for taking and receiving phone calls. Like I said, lasts for 5 hours. You have 2 more charges in this case, so that's a total of 15 hours of use. So when you're using these, you can also plug this in. This can charge on its own without these being in. Another feature I really, really like, you have a main one that connects to your phone, and then this one's a slave, so it connects to the right one. The good thing about that the AirPods don't do is if you have it in and you're playing something and somebody comes over to talk, you can pull out the right one and it will stop playing whatever you're listening to. And when you put it back in, it'll automatically continue. That's great. But sometimes you hear something and you're thinking, what was that? Let's say a PA announcement, and you're listening to a podcast or a book or something. You kind of want to hear what's going on a little better, so you pull this out just to kind of listen to it. That doesn't mean you want to stop your music or stop your audiobook or whatever you're listening to. If you pull the left one out, it doesn't stop things. It still plays in your right. So that's pretty awesome. I love that feature. The Apple AirPods, if you pull either of them out, it stops. So I like that idea. Pull out the right if you want it to stop. Pull out the left if you want it to continue. So that's pretty cool. Now another thing it's got is if you double tap on the left earbud, it's got kind of like a sound. The microphones that are used for your phone calls actually allows some of the exterior sound through. And there is an app on your phone So as you can see from the app, the Jabra app, when you get in there, there's a thing called hear through, which is that double tap I'm talking about that lets you hear the surrounding sound. And you can have a slider that decides how much of the outside sound goes through when you double tap. If you want it to be really amplified, you can turn it to the max, or if you just want a little bit of sound to get through, you can put it towards the lower end. I find if you put it up towards the max, the problem with it is that it really is like a hearing aid that's trying to pick up everything around you and you know, magnify it and put it in your ears, which is a little bit disconcerting, I find. I found it's too much, and it also sounds like it's being broadcast to you kind of through a tunnel. It doesn't sound like the real world does. It sounds like obviously a microphone's been picking up something and jamming it into your ears while you're trying to listen to something else. So not at the high end is probably the best, somewhere in the middle. So that's a nice feature. So generally, if you're going to spend the kind of money that goes for an Apple AirPod, my suggestion is save your money. Go out and get something like the Jabra Elite 65T. You'll get better sound because of the noise isolation. You have the ability to shut out the world or double tap and start listening to what's going on around you while you listen to your stuff. You have the ability to get really good phone calls where they can hear you, you can hear them, and that you sound like you're on a normal phone. The other thing is you can pull out one earbud and things will pause, and when you put it back in, it'll start again. Or you can decide to pull out the other earbud and everything will just keep playing while you listen with your left ear. So that's a nice option. Okay, so I guess you can tell I sort of like the Jabras, but there are some issues and I'll get to that in a second. But let's just reinforce the fact that the Jabras look way cooler than the Apple AirPods. And of course everybody wants to know the shake test. Will these things come out of your ears if you're moving around? No, not really. Now let's take a look at some of the negative things I found with the Jabra. Is these little gel earpieces that they give you are like the cheapest quality earpieces ever, and they just come with the rubber latexy ones. They don't come with the foam, memory foam ones. I think for the price of the Elite 65Ts, these should have come with a foam, memory foam type. Those are more comfortable for long use. I find with these ones, you know, the rubber kind of gets in there and you feel like after a while, if you've been wearing, especially if you're exercising, it might feel a little like it's getting a little sweaty, and you know, anyways, you don't want to know. But long and short, should come with memory foam. So on another point, these things are not magnetized. So when you go to put them in the case, they just sort of fall in the case. There's nothing snapping them in there to make sure that they stay there, which means if this isn't sealed and you put it upside down, out come your earbuds. I've had that happen to me in my backpack, and it scared the crap out of me. I got home from work, I knew I had these with me. I go to take them out to charge this case, and there's just a case, no earbuds. And I'm like, holy crap, did I leave them at work? Like, you know how things are at work. You leave something unattended and it's like it has legs, it just walks away on its own. So I was like, oh no, I left them at work and they're just sitting there somewhere. Nope, they were in the bottom of my bag. So this thing had popped open, and once it pops open, these are not magnetized and they just fell. So that's kind of, for the price, another thing that Jabra should have done is, come on, throw some magnets in there. Almost every other product. I have a really cheap pair that I got off Amazon that's somewhere around here that were literally like $39. Same idea, Bluetooth, truly wireless earbuds. They don't have the sound quality of this, but they're like $39 Canadian, which is nothing compared to the other wireless, true wireless earbuds on the market. But even those were magnetic. So I don't know why Jabra didn't spend the money on that. This case will pop open too. If you drop it from a distance, the top will just pop open and the earbuds will just spill out. So, come on, Jabra. You know, these are kind of premium earbuds here. They're worth more than the AirPods, but I think they're worth more. But there's a couple of features they kind of skipped on. Other than that, the case though, I mean, if you drop it from a high enough distance, it will pop open, but the case won't just flip open with your thumb. You kind of have to squeeze the sides of it and then it'll open. So there you go. Little word to the wise. Don't struggle, don't pry at it with your fingertips. Just give it a squeeze on the side and then it opens. All right, so that's the review of the Jabra Elite 65Ts. I give it 4.5 stars out of 5, with the only half star being because the case is not magnetized and you can actually have your earbuds just fall out and end up randomly in the bottom of your backpack, which is never good. So hopefully you enjoyed it. In the upcoming episode of Average Tech Fan, I'm gonna cover that, my Crane 2 back there. It's been in the box for about a week now and I haven't brought it out because I haven't had any need to use a motorized gimbal, but I'm going to be using it very soon on my Cruising Off Duty channel. So before I start using it, of course, I'm going to review it and show you everything that comes with it. And then I've got a bunch of other things on the go that's going to be on this channel very soon. So subscribe so you don't miss those awesome episodes that are coming. Also hit the notification button and that way you'll get a little notification email that my new episode is up. And until next time, I hope you're having an awesome, awesome day. All right, so that's my review of the Jabra 65Ts from Jabra. Very soon, so subscribe so you don't miss those awesome episodes that are coming. Episodes?